Hello, everyone. Okay, today, guys, this is so real. This is so me and real because I want to talk about hypocrisy and I want to talk about the reality of things. I'm doing this when I'm like super sick because I've been in bed for like 4 days straight with a fever. I even think I still have a fever. I mean, I'll show you. I don't even know if you can read it, but we're almost to 100. So, when you're in bed for 4 days and you can't talk to anybody, which wouldn't have happened without my mother-in-law and husband. Yay, thank God for them. So I'm listening to just stuff. But I'm listening to these famous actors talk about things, and I'm listening to the Mike Biddle incident, and I'm listening to news, and just let's just talk about hypocrisy and talk about how incredibly imperfect we are as parents and how we are completely deceiving ourselves in so many ways by thinking that other people are better. And there's just so much. Let me see if I can actually have the brain power to like break this down, which may be really hard to do since I've got like almost 100-degree temperature right now. So I'm not gonna name like specifics with what I've watched because, to be honest, they're not even worth watching, to be honest. But I'm listening to these actors talk about their childhood trauma and how they were abused and they were deceived. And there's one in particular that I was watching, and he was sharing how, you know, he would have these religious services, and how after the services were done, his parents would just fight and fight and fight. And for him being a kid, it was so hypocritical because he was like, well, you just got done talking about all these like spiritual things and being all friendly with all these people, and then you turn around and you're fighting with me and you're fighting with each other and you're getting divorces. And it's for a child to comprehend that, he was saying, was so difficult. And I get that, and I totally agree. That totally makes sense. Well, here's the kicker. Going through a journey like that as a child, it's almost like, why would I be a Christian? And my parents, you can see right through it, right? They're totally faking it in front of the congregation. I mean, dude, I have a YouTube channel, you know. I show you things, but there's a lot of things I keep private that I don't want to show you. And over the years, I've definitely evolved because I've been more and more convicted about being in that camp of like, hey, look how wonderful my life is. When in reality, my life is definitely not perfect. I have problems, I have struggles, I have faults, I mess up like constantly. But see, like, we're all in this kind of situation where we have somewhere, whether it's work, whether it's our church, whether it's our family, with our social group, where we try to put on a front sometimes and not be real with who we are. But then we turn around, and when the doors are shut, it's almost like sometimes we're leading a double life sometimes. But first of all, if you guys say that's not true, then you're lying to yourself. Just gonna throw that out there because we're not perfect. Like, nobody's perfect at all, period. And I think the Christian religion, or the faith-based religion, I shouldn't just say Christian because Christianity has been, I'm not even going to go there. So, the faith-based biblical worldview perspective, Bible is your foundation perspective. I didn't even know what I was trying to say because I just got so wrapped up in that word Christian. Okay, I got it right. So the Christian, see, I said it again. This faith is, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, is the only faith where you actually admit that you need something outside of yourself for salvation. In other words, you recognize that you are a sinner and works cannot get you salvation. And we will always fall, and we will always stumble, and we will always screw up. And I think that's why sometimes we see like these pastors or these leaders in general up on a pedestal. They're brought to a pedestal, and then like people start to idolatry, right? And then all of a sudden something happens and they fall because they're human, okay? And one of the things that I hate, just also listening to these interviews, is that we hold grudges against these people that have disappointed us, whether it's a pastor, a leader, and whether it is a movie star, whether it is a parent, that we put them up on a pedestal and think that they, for whatever reason, because they're a leader in our life, that they have attained perfection, when in fact they're not. I think the Lord allows that to happen to show us that only He is the one true God. So how do I translate that to parenting? Okay, because that's what I talk about here, is being a parent. So now let's translate to us as parents reaching into our children's lives. By default, are going to put us up on pedestals, and we are pretty much their interpretation of the world. And we are fallen, we are mistaken, we're going to screw up. We are going to have those instances where we're like yelling and screaming, and then we're getting in the car and going to services. Okay, that happens. I've done it. We've done it. We've all done it. Okay, it happens. Okay, we've yelled, we've thrown insults. Now we can teach our kids. Now see, this is, I'm gonna go backwards. How are we looking at our parents? Because that's how our kids are learning. Are we holding grudges against our parents, right? I just said my mother-in-law is an angel for helping me today and yesterday. I could sit here and harp on all the horrible things that happened in my childhood. I could sit there and nitpick like, oh my gosh, this didn't happen or that didn't. To be quite frank with my kids, I've made it a point to say, hey, you know what? My mom, she passed away from cancer when I was 18 years old. She had chemotherapy. We don't even want to go there with how horrible chemotherapy tears up the brain. And things, just watching her deteriorate and all the things, and things were said that weren't appropriate. However, she's my mom. She's not perfect. However, I look at the good things that she taught me and I hold on to those. She always would apologize too. She would be like, I am so sorry, like I messed up. And she was also very, very humble. My dad, like literally sacrificed his entire life to make sure she was comfortable and to make sure that we lived a normal childhood. But of course he screwed up. Am I gonna focus on the things that he did wrong, or focus on all those good things that he did right? I'm gonna lift my father up and my mom up, and I'm gonna do it in front of my children, but also point out that they weren't perfect. It wasn't a perfect situation, yet I'm not holding that grudge against them because I love them. They're my parents. So I think my interpretation of how I view my parents is important for my kids, because that's how they're going to interpret us. They're either going to grow up and they're going to think, oh, my mom was like, she did this, and they're going to focus on the negative things and just hold grudges. Because that's why all these, therapies, I know a lot of people do need therapy. But sometimes people go to therapy a little bit too much because they won't let go of grudges. Okay, therapy is good. I'm a fan of it. But when you won't let go of grudges, we need to allow our kids to see our humility and that we aren't perfect. We apologize. Like, look, I'm not perfect. I am not perfect. I'm sorry and I want to change. Please pray. Ask them to pray for you. Like, say, please, can you pray that I can be a better mom to you, that I can listen more to you? So one of the things is my husband, this is really personal. This is just an example. It's a really good example. How do I there's a situation in our congregation where my son was up on the podium and he was giving a message. And at the end of the message, the mom and dad come up and we said something nice to him and we prayed for him. And one of the things my husband, he broke down, and my husband's going to hate me for saying this, but it's real, and was confessing things in front of my son and in front of the whole congregation that he had not done right in certain areas of his life, and he wants to change and be a better father because deep down inside he loves his son more than anything in the world. And I think that's what we all feel, is deep down inside we want the best for our kids, but our pride gets in the way. And we sometimes forget that we are human and that we do make mistakes. And sometimes for our children, it's good for us to admit those things. So I'm really tired. I want to go back to bed. I'm sure my temperature just went up like a couple degrees as I sat here and talked and used energy, because I have none. Thankfully, I have a lot of videos that I haven't edited yet, so I'll start pumping those out. Yeah, it went up 1 degree. I don't like taking Tylenol, but for this one I did. Y'all, it was nasty. I haven't been this sick since before I even started YouTube. This is worse than the pandemic, in my opinion. So whatever it is, like, I'm so glad you can't catch it over the camera. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go. All right. Talk to you later. Good night. Yep. Bye. Wait, hold on. Okay, don't go anywhere. So this is me, Leilani, the editor right now, editing the video a week after I actually recorded the video. And I know a lot of you might actually write in the comments like, how are you doing now? Is everything better? Did you survive? Like that stuff, because I already like, I can hear them coming in. So I thought I would just like answer that question just to kind of fill you in. Like, yes, I was like really sick. But sometimes when you're like really sick, the best time to record videos is then, because you like say it how it is. And that's why I actually kept this video instead of trashing it and going, wow, what was wrong with me? So, okay, let me just, because I know you guys want to know, yes, I was sick. I had the flu, strain A. Yes, it was. It was, and I had a fever for 7 days. Yep, I did. And it was awful. But I'm okay now. It was like I kind of got a little reset button pushed, and I didn't get really behind on any of my work. I mean, I did a little bit, but I was able to set my priorities, what need to be priorities. And now I'm back with my kids. None of my kids are sick, except for one. One of them got sick, but he had it first, and then he's the one that gave it to me. But as of right now, like, nobody is ill, and it's been like several days since I got over this thing. I still have a little bit of cough, but it's okay. I'm okay. Everybody's happy. You know, the flu happens. It happened, and I survived it, but I will say it's probably the worst flu I've ever had in my entire life. So if anybody says to you that they're not feeling too well, just please run. Like, it was pretty bad. So that's all I had to say to you, is that I'm doing fine now. And I hope this really made sense to you guys. And if you want to, yes, please still write in the comments. But I do want to know what you thought. I want to know if you've noticed this a little bit within the whole parenting world with ourselves, and how hard we are on ourselves, and just any other thoughts, extension of this, because I'd be very curious to see what you guys think. So